Magisk is back to Astralis, Donk'S price tag revealed, Valve bans a $2 million Steam account after government request, and S1MPLE speaks about CS2. Hello there friends, this is CS2 News Hub. We've got a lot to discuss, so without further ado, let's get straight to it. Now I think we shall start today's episode with 3D Max, who just keep getting stronger. First, they knocked Navi out of the EWC, and now, just a few days ago, they won their first LAN event in China, beating both Lin Vision and Tai Lu. Sure, the prize money wasn't that huge, but the event mattered for the VRS ranking, which is absolutely crucial for any team chasing a major spot. And of course, even small victories like this can give a huge morale boost. So, great job, guys. Now, let's hold on for a little bit in China, because there's a pretty wild story here. You see, China's government actually reached out to Valve and asked them to ban a player's account that has been supposedly used to obtain skins through fraudulent methods, to launder money. And, well, Valve didn't resist. They banned it. Meanwhile, the account held around $1.7 million worth of skins, including the legendary Kato 14s, Titan Holo, and iBuyPower Holo. Yeah, and I want to highlight again, the reason was money laundering and fraudulent activity. Now, friends, imagine if Valve reacted this quickly not to only government requests, but also to reports from the community. What a game we would have. And guys, while Valve does this to a $1.7 million scammer account and we get nothing, I just wasn't joking, because recently a new bug popped up. It literally turns CS2 into Portal. By typing a few console commands, players can glitch out of the map or walk straight through walls. And it's not like cheating or anything, it's just the game itself. But for safety reasons, obviously, we're not gonna explain how it works, because it can easily get your account banned. But yeah, it's still game breaking. And it's been alive for like a week and we get no fixes. Although it's maybe something huge, and that's why it takes longer to patch. But hopefully Valve steps up soon, because right now the game is straight up broken. Although, even with all the bugs and problems, there's one thing that sets CS2 apart from every other game. It's eternal. Well, at least that's what S1MPLE thinks. In his words, Counter-Strike will always remain the greatest esport, the true chess of competitive gaming. He even joked that in 30 years he'll still be watching CS4 with eco rounds, smokes, and bomb plans just like today. Just imagine it, the 2055 Major and Kerrigan at 65 years old, lifting the trophy or playing in a veteran show match. That'd be awesome. But before we move on to the next news, let me tell you about our great friends from CS:GO Fast. It is the oldest and most trusted website in the history of CS skin games. Feel like Gabe install all your luck in CS? On CS:GO Fast you can open tons of profitable cases and finally pull out the dream skin you've always wanted. They've got a huge variety of games, including intense case battles. You can even invite a friend to try to come out on top together. My favorite mode is Upgrade, where you can always turn your skins into something extremely rare. Here you can deposit your skins instantly. Yes, even after the recent CS2 update. If you're a true CS veteran, you already know the community has trusted CS:GO Fast for years. That's why they have a loyalty system for regular users and a ranking system with the extra bonuses. And do I even need to mention their skin prices or insanely huge market? You already know it's awesome. Oh, if you don't want to deposit, no problem. You can always use the referral system to earn points. Use our promo code CS2 News Hub to get plus 10% to your deposit and a free case. The link will be in the pinned comment. Speaking of the good days and the veterans, you know what guys, the Astralis era might be coming back, the legendary spirit of winning, the red stars. Because guys, listen to this, according to HLTV, Astralis are preparing to buy back Magisk. The move would likely see him replace Stavn, which shocked quite a few fans. Even Thorin decided to speak up. He said that such a swap would strip Astralis of firepower, and that the only way to get back back to form would be also to sign Blame Math. On the other hand, Dupree admitted that he regrets retiring so early, hinting that maybe he could have had a chance to rejoin Astralis as well. Guys, can you imagine Device, Dupree, Magisk, Astralis 2025? They would suck so hard, but at least it would be fun to watch. And just as we were uploading the video, news officially broke. Stavn is stepping down from the roster due to health reasons, and Magisk is officially back to Astralis. And Dupree was quick to react. So, Glaive, Zipnix, Zonic, why we weren't invited to the reunion, he asked. And we agree, that would be awesome. Talking roster moves, we've got to touch on Electronic and how the community reacted to his benching. Most fans actually saw it as a positive sign, not because Electronic got dropped, but because it proved that VP are finally open to changes, even when it comes to players close to management. Still, the core problem remains. The upper management hasn't changed and doesn't really plan to, meaning that the org might never reach a real breakthrough until they change the executives. Even voices like Jerry, Rufar, who's an ex-VP Academy scout, and many others have echoed this. But the huge question is, where should Electronic go next, when he drops out of the contract jail? And you know what? Surprisingly, here the community is unanimous. Analysts from Thorin to Maui, even Overdrive, all of them agree. He should link up with BCG and s1MPLE ASAP. Even Zeus suggested BCG should slowly rebuild the legendary Navi 2021 lineup, just under a new banner. Guys, what do you think? Should Electronic really join s1MPLE or try a different path? If Virtus.pro lets him go, tell us in the comments below. And yeah, don't forget to like the video and subscribe to the channel. That would really mean a lot for us, cause we got some videos deleted due to copyright restrictions. It's kinda tough, you know? Now let's move on. Speaking of former Virtus.pro players, we should talk about Norbert, because he found himself a new home, surprisingly, at least for now, because he's joining HO2, a tier 2 team out of Yakutia who is best known for their run at PGL Astana. There he would be playing together with Mo, the CIS legend. For now it's just a short-term loan, just for a couple of matches, before he heads back to the Virtus.pro bench. Or maybe he will stay. Who knows? Time will tell. Now, speaking of BCG, Maui Snake dropped a pretty bold theory. In his words, instead of going after Electronic, the team should target Elige. The idea is crazy simple, just swap him in for Sasanito, and you will see that suddenly BCG could comfortably break into the top 12 in the world. According to Maui, s1MPLE is already performing on par with the operas of the top 12 teams. The real issue is the riflers on BCG, and that's exactly where Elige could change everything. Of course, the odds of signing Jonathan are kinda slim, maybe 5% or less. But on the other hand, right now BCG is the kind of a team where you can throw almost anyone in, thanks to the org's financial power and s1MPLE's level of play, charisma and media. So it might be worth it for Elige. But there's one player that BCG almost certainly can't buy, and that's Donk. According to Team Spirit scout Overdrive, Donk is the strongest mechanical player in CS history, capable of single-handedly shutting down any team outside of the top 20. That makes his value closer to a professional football player, not a global superstar, but still massive. Overdrive estimates Donk's current buyout at a minimum of $10 million. For that price, you can basically get a spot at the next majors, a massive fanbase and media hype, and a huge sticker revenue. But there's a kicker, his price could still be rising, and it all depends on Spirit's management. Guys, what do you think? Is $10 million a fair number for Donk, or is Overdrive exaggerating again? I honestly think that $10 million for Donk is kinda fair, I guess. Now, remember how Team Spirit dropped out of the EWC in the first day and then they had a shaky matchup at Blast? It seems that at the end of the day, even the best teams can get exhausted, and according to many analysts, players, the community members, the blame lies exactly with Valve. Jerry pointed out that most rosters are just worn down by the non-stop tier 1 grind. 14 events in a year, including 2 majors, and we're only speaking about the huge ones. There's barely any time to rest or properly prepare, and that oversaturation is why even the top teams have started slipping. Messi also, for example, agreed, and he said that Valve should hire a dedicated esports manager, someone who actually communicates with the people and ensures both the players and the game itself stay at peak performance. But I mean, Valve hiring a separate person for CS for their any game? No offense, Messioso, but you sound delulu, as Zoomers say. Valve will never hire a dedicated esports manager. Never ever. Now let's talk about Blast Open London Stage 1. Today we will talk about the teams that got eliminated in the previous days. First off, Liquid versus Imperial. On paper it looked like an easy win for Liquid, especially after they pushed Vitality to the limit earlier, but it wasn't that simple. On their own map pick, Liquid actually struggled and couldn't play properly. Thankfully, on the deciding nuke, they focused and closed it out, so Imperial were eliminated. Second came Legacy versus FlyQuest. The first map at least looked close, but on their own map pick, Legacy just stomped their opponent, 13-2. However, on the decider, the Brazilians failed to show anything good on T-side, which led to their elimination from the tournament, and FlyQuest proceed. Then we had Mouse versus G2. Once again, everything seemed predictable, and you know what, Mouse started strong. On G2's pick, they won the first half 11-1, but in the second half they almost managed to throw it away from 12-3, letting G2 climb all the way back. But fortunately for Jimhat's team, they managed to take it. On map 2, Mouse's own pick, they again started on fire with a 9-3 half. But after the switch, they once again gave up round after round. Fortunately, at some point they finally closed it out, but it was way too uncomfortable for Mouse. The last match of that day was Furia versus Spirit, and this is where it became clear that burnout is a real thing. Even though Shiro and Donk were doing everything they could to carry, it just wasn't enough. Furia looked more cohesive, more prepared, always one step ahead. Nuke was a roller coaster, I have to say, especially with Furia winning a 4th round in the final. And yeah, Team Spirit lost. It's their first ever best of 3 loss to Furia with this lineup, and it also sent Spirit to the lower bracket. Next we have Fnatic versus Gamer Legion, and you know what, surprisingly, Fnatic, who had recently lost their top fragger, managed to come out on top. They won both maps 13-11 and sent Gamer Legion home. Clearly, Ash's team haven't been themselves lately. I hope they will fix their problems. Then came Na'Vi versus M80, and this one was worth watching. The Americans wanted to show what they're capable of and prove that they shouldn't be underestimated. Already in round 2, Lake scored a huge ace. At 4-0, Hex clutched a 1v3. A few rounds later, Slags won a 2v4, so the first half ended 9-3, and in the end, Ancient went to M80. On Train, they just kept winning clutches and even the most basic rounds, but eventually Na'Vi managed to even things up. So the decider was Inferno, which started with Ime attempting a 1v4 clutch and landing a knife frag and pistol round, but that wasn't enough. In the end, M80 were just stronger and Na'Vi crashed out, placed 9th, 12th. What is happening with Na'Vi, I have no idea, but luckily for them, the next event only has 8 teams, so at least they can't get eliminated that early, right? Next was Spirit versus Liquid, and this one was classic Team Spirit. Donk promised they wouldn't drop a map, and they didn't. Surely, Liquid came very close at one point, especially on their own map pick, Dust 2, but Shiro was absolutely unstoppable. In the end, Liquid exited the tournament the same way as Na'Vi. The last match of the day was G2 versus FlyQuest, and here we finally saw S1MPLE step up, remembering his peak form and playing an amazing first map with 2.16 rating. On the second map, G2 simply finished the job and JKS S was left unable to get revenge against his former team. But Blast is not over yet. We've got a few more matches to go, the last ones before the LAN port. Although for now, I have to say that it's all for today. Don't forget to hit the like button, to follow our channel, and drop a comment below. I'm not saying goodbye for a long time, my friends. See you soon.